Hello, and welcome to Neanderthal Storytime. Today's story is titled Bus Boulevard. Part 1. The Call of the Bus. It was like 10:30 at night on a Wednesday, and the Discord call was running long and hot. TJ was speaking highly of his previous night's endeavors.
So anyway, she didn't even touch my dick. She just fucked my ass.
Shut the fuck up for a second, TJ, Mick said. Jack, eBay has a used bus featured on their homepage. Yeah? Jack responded. And it's only $7,500. Well, that's cute and all, but I'm interested in TJ's drunken escapades. Continue, TJ. The tension got thick, and the Skype call got even hotter. Jack, we gotta talk this shit over. I'm closing the call. And with that, Mick hacked everyone's computer with his information systems computer background, thus closing the Google Hangout. Jack threw himself back in his cheap Aldi's computer chair. What the hell? Mick burst into Jack's room, opening the door like Kramer. Oh! What do you want, man? We have some serious business to discuss. Bus business, Mick said. Are you really wanting to live in a bus? We already leased out our apartment for another year of college. Mick pulled up a little chair and sat down, stomach arched out and ass cheeks barely hanging onto the front of the seat. He pulled out a Casio calculator. Let's do the math. You and I both pay $465 a month for rent, okay? We'll be living in this apartment for 10 more months. Between the two of us, that's a combined number of over $9,000. So the way I look at it, we can live in this swamp-infested college town hellhole, or buy this bus for $7,500 and live in it forever. Jack stared at Mick stone-faced, unresponsive for a few minutes. Okay, sounds good to me. Call up the eBay seller, I'll get my credit card. And with that, the seal was dealed, and Jack and Mick went in together on a bus.
Good day, welcome back, I'm Jimmy. This video is for a 2001 Gillig bus. Could be a great Burning Man fun project. This is a police impounded unclaimed vehicle located in Oakland, California. Winning bidder is going to get California lien sale paperwork, which is to register this vehicle and get California title.
Part 2. Enter the bus. The two roommates drove over to the local Walmart supercenter to meet the eBay seller. They were traveling to the store as they typically would, in Mick's retro-futuristic Pontiac with red LED backlight console display, with Kavinsky blasting over the cassette player, and with matching 80s jackets. Jack's jacket was magenta, and Mick's was teal. They pulled into the expansive Walmart supercenter parking lot and drove over to the parked bus with the seller standing beside it, arms crossed. It was in the dead of night, totally deep throat, and Jack and Mick got out of the Pontiac and took off their sunglasses. The seller was clearly insane. One eye was about 1 inch wider than the other in diameter, and his hair was long, sparse, and stringy. His nose looked like a slinky. The crazed man walked over to the boys and spoke in a clearly audible dial tone. Mick and Jack nodded in understanding. I understand. The crazed seller spoke a little more. Yeah, Jack, get him the dough, Mick said while slapping Jack's teal jacket. Oh shit! Jack fumbled to get his credit cards out of his pocket. The seller crouched down like a soccer goalie, held his hands up to the aesthetic stars, and tucked his arms in like chicken wings. Jack shoved the credit cards down the man's throat, working his fist and forearm like a piston churning butter to make sure they got firmly down the seller's gullet. Once finished, the seller stood up, nodded, and walked off into the void of the parking lot. The two boys stood staring at their new home. It was a full-size yellow school bus, the kind with a flat nose. It was fairly rusted over and had over 200,000 miles on the odometer. The best part was the license plate read Bus Boulevard in Leet speak. A tear went down Mick's cheek. It's beautiful. Jack nodded his head. I agree. They both high-fived. Part 3. Bus Fix-em-up. The next couple of weeks were spent moving their shit into the bus, personalizing it to their tastes, and evading Walmart's management. The reason why they had told the seller to bring the bus to the Walmart was so that they could freely park and chill in the back of the parking lot, you know, like people do with their camping RVs. When Walmart eventually took notice of the large school bus that never moved in their lot, the boys just told them that they didn't have a bus driving license and that they couldn't move it legally. The Walmart management then got all pissy and would threaten to call the cops on Jack and Mick, or worse, Maurer Wrecker Service to tow their asses away. To prevent this, Mick and Jack slashed the bus's tires so they couldn't be forced to move out, even if they wanted to. In the meantime, they put some personal touches on the bus to make it feel more homey. They walked down the street to the sex shop, bought a blow-up doll, and chained it spread eagle across the front of the bus. They also tied rusty metal cans and glass bottles to the front grille of the bus because it looked totally badass. The last touch was a professionally printed e-signs vinyl sign that read Bus Boulevard, spread out above the accordion door. Then, on one fateful day while they were out in the hot summer sun listening to Playing with the Boys by Kenny Loggins, the Walmart district manager stormed out, huffed and puffed. "You dirty motherfuckers," the manager yelled. "You freeloading rat-skinned shits! I've just called Maurer Wrecker Service, and they're on their way over here to wreck your shit. I told them to take your stupid shit bus and break your goddamn legs. You've been here for weeks playing grown-up camp-out in our lot, and I'm fucking tired of it." Mick smirked a cocky grin to the manager. "Our tires are slashed out. This bus ain't going anywhere." The manager flashed a smirk right back. "That's where you're wrong, retro fag. Maurer has a Ford F-850. It'll pick this bus up and drag it to the middle school hell it came from, no problem. Then he's gonna run over your femurs with it." The manager looked behind his shoulder and saw a big red Ford F-850 pull in from off the highway. "Ha! There he is now." Mick snapped a look at Jack and said, "Jack, you know what to do." Jack snapped back a nod and crouched, ready to implement their backup plan. Once the Ford F-850 got into proximity, Jack ran up all crouched and slapped off its tires. The tires rolled down the Walmart Supercenter lot and fit perfectly into place over the old bus tires. Jack then reeled back his head and yelled, "Hit it, Mick!" Mick, already in the driver's seat, folded down his sunglasses, put a firm grasp over the 3-foot-long stick shift, cranked back the parking brake and yelled, Already there, boyo!" He then let out a wild howl and rammed his foot into the gas. As the bus tires were smoking up, Jack ran up and hopped in through the emergency door in the back and flipped off the Walmart manager and the wrecker man. Mick jiggled the clutch and tore ass out of the Walmart parking lot, tin cans getting caught under the tires and glass bottles shattering over the pavement. They were never to return. Yeah! The shiny red Ford F-850 sat on the lot tireless, while the Walmart manager melted to death out of enraged anger. Part 4. Life on Bus Boulevard. Mick and Jack lived their young lives on the road for the rest of the summer, never stopping except for certain exceptions. They blasted Laserhawk and Macintosh Plus all throughout their retro cassette tape sound system. Jack would slay some serious strange after picking up any ladies he bothered to. His pickup lines would usually be some variant of, "Hey, I'm a creative writing student and I live in a bus." The ladies would look at his long hair and thin mustache and couldn't fight their primal urges to get slain. Mick would enter the bus into local drag races, winning basically every time. Eventually, the two boys would make up enough money from their newly founded prostitution ring and mixed drag racing winnings to soup up the bus with new kicks. They leveled up the engine with nitro tubes, got the fuel injector all better, and invested in some sick, low-hanging rims. Jack and Mick had their fair share of arguments over what augments they should put on the bus next, but through an almost telepathic mental understanding, they knew what their next addition would be: a handicapped wheelchair ramp and hydraulic lift. Yeah, the augment would pretty much make the bus. The idea was to tear out the back 10 feet of the bus, blast a hole out of the right-hand side, and install the mechanical platform. But they weren't doing it so that the physically challenged could easily get access to Bus Boulevard. Oh no, they did it so they could set up a dining table on top of the platform. So, the two boys pooled together their money and bought the mechanical handicapped lift. They installed it themselves after a couple hours of hot oil and steady bitching. But after some solid retro-inspired hard work, they got the thing in just like they wanted it, dining table and all. To test it out, they drove up to the nearest 2-lane highway, pulled up and parked it in the left lane, and let out the mechanical platform over the right lane. Now blocking both lanes of traffic, the boys sat and ate a lovely meal of Hormel chili and swai fish fillets. Cars were honking and revving engines, blood vessels were popping, but the boys didn't care. But then, off in the distance, they heard cop sirens. Jack yelled out, "Mick, it's the Pokey!" Mick threw down his bowl of canned chili and raced to the front of the bus. He slapped on his sunglasses, rang the clutch, and thrusted the shifter. He bolted that bus forward, smashing into the blocked-up traffic. Jack hung tight on his handicap platform, finishing his meal, as Mick jammed and slammed through the oncoming traffic. Jack looked behind himself and saw a massive army of cop cars tearing an equally fierce amount of ass their way. Building up to a full 65 mph, Mick was able to use his drag racing skills and Nitro Pro engine to lose the coppers. Jack removed his bib, dabbed his mouth delicately, and mooned the evaded cops. The boys got away and only did a minimal amount of destruction to the other cars in the process. Part 5. Bustle-log. The two boys, Mick and Jack, evaded the cops and Walmart Supercenter employees many more times during their adventures living in the bus. They even installed a second windshield for the handicap platform to help keep the napkins and silverware on the table while they were tearing ass down Veterans Parkway. Yeah, they lived pretty high on the hog for a while. That is, until they were forced to drop out of college due to the massive amounts of bus fumes they inhaled on a daily basis, which is a legitimate cause for autism. The bank foreclosed their bus and they were forced to live on electric two-wheeled hoverboards for the rest of their lives until the autism finally spread to their brains and killed them. That is the end of Neanderthal Storytime. Thank you for listening.